So on episode 4, we got the story of the heel turn. And essentially what it did was it gave us two instances of a major heel turn. One in regards to the New Day and the shock of the New Day's heel turn when they turned on Big E and the world turned on them, which was pretty interesting, a la Karrion Cross. Give Karrion Cross his props. But then they go into how they set up the heel turn for John Cena. And I'm gonna the logistics of how they set it up is very convoluted, if I'm being honest. There was a lot of back and forth conversation between everyone involved, and because of that, they decided to lock everything down to keep it from getting out. That so there were no holes, nobody knew exactly what was happening. All we knew was that there was a look to this, there was a feel to this. And I remember when I did my analysis right before Elimination Chamber that I thought the best way to go was to do a heel turn for um, John Cena because it would have the most impact. It would be insane. And it was. It was so big, so massive. People that didn't even know John Cena, the wrestler, were asking us, the IWC, why is this everywhere? What is happening? What's going on? So it was a massive impact. It did what it was supposed to do. Flip side, though, there was a caveat to this and what the other plan would be, which I honestly believe was the better of the two plans. If John Cena had not come back for his 25-year farewell run, if he had just decided to do a one-off match, then we would have gotten Kevin Owens as champion, and we would have had Cody Rhodes fighting to get his championship back, fighting against the regime, which I believe would have been a much better story to tell because we all thought that the situation with Kevin Owens was done. And what I thought would have been ingenious, which is what they displayed, is that it would have been an impromptu match had that night at Elimination Chamber after Cody Rhodes is beaten down. Kevin Owens comes out and gets the win, and it does the infamous stand on Cody's chest as he holds up the champion because he would be a legitimized champion. We once again would have The Rock interfering, using his power to essentially sway the WWE into his favor. He would become the very thing that he hated the most about Vince McMahon, and he would wield that power with all his might because he could. And there was no one that was going to check him or stop him. So that would have been the catalyst leading into WrestleMania instead of what we got. And while I and love John Cena to the end of days, I think John Cena also fits into that category of relatability, which I'm going to do a show on the relatability gene and why I think it's much more important than the it factor. I'm going to do that episode. It's going to be coming in a few weeks, so don't worry, it's coming. But John Cena's relatability and his ability to, just he's very, very cavalier about how he got to where he is. He doesn't have any amazing stories. No, I grinded on the indies. This was my dream. He makes it very, very clear in almost every interview that he has done that he just was very lucky. And he doesn't take for granted the amount of luck that he has, how blessed he actually is. He fully understands it and he respects it more than you know. When you talk to him, he's just a very much normal blue collar white man, and he's just him. There's a rarity that he shows any glimpses of anything outside of that. I mean, he has his ways. Clearly, we've seen it on Total Divas and everything in between. But like, he just seems to be a very straightforward man, but he has his moments where when he turns on the camera, it's a very stoic response to pretty much everything. There's no true emotion involved in that. He's just telling his story. I don't know what he's like outside of that when he's just being cool and getting a beer and just having conversation. That I don't know, but I do understand this. And oftentimes, people who fall into something and are great at it aren't great at it by happenstance. This is where they were meant to be. So, people like Bianca, people like Rhea Ripley, people like Charlotte Flair, people like John Cena, they have a certain je ne sais quoi, but they didn't come from the wrestling background. They either were born into it, like Charlotte, they knew of it, but they didn't really understand it and they got it and they're easily picking it up, like Bianca, or they knew all about it, they enjoyed it, but they never dreamed that they would be one of the guys. You know what I'm saying? Like John Cena. So when I was looking at the dichotomy of both of these heel turns and how this could have worked out, I feel like I'm kind of glad they didn't go with Kevin because Kevin eventually was injured, and that injury had been suffered after that ladder match at Royal Rumble. And then we would have lost like an entire because we wouldn't have gotten the match with Sami Zayn, so I don't think it would have aggravated it, but they would have had to go to the next level for their match because of the height of their feud and the way that they did it at Royal Rumble. It would have had to lead to Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. That would have been the only way to calm this storm and to kill it. And I fear that that would have put Kevin Owens, he would have been in bad shape if that were the case. Bad shape. So I'm kind of glad that that match didn't happen, but I'm also kind of sad because I would have loved to have seen Kevin Owens be a corporate stooge for The Rock and then everything crumble, you know? Do I think that John Cena being champion for WWE, the heel turn, was the best move at the time? I do. I think that it was a smart move. I think that it was incredibly iconic. And it was, at the time, it was the better of the two. But in hindsight, I think you would have gotten a lot more out of Kevin and Cody than you are getting now out of John and Cody. And I hate to say that, but it's just the honest to God truth. And you guys know, I love John Cena. He's always been my favorite. And I just wish it were better. I wish that he was the corporate stooge. You know, when The Rock pulled away and didn't, continue to assert his authority, that made it, you know, less than, and John Cena is fine as a heel. He's not terrible, but he doesn't really give much. There's not really a lot going on. And I don't know. I expected more. I wanted more, and I didn't get that. And I think that's what really kind of made me go, ugh. So when it came to this first part about the Unreal documentary series, and they're explaining the heel work and then how they got from John Cena being, the ultimate babyface to now being the iconic heel. I don't know. I'm just not interested in that aspect of the show. Um, I'm not saying that I don't care because I do, but at the same time, I just genuinely don't care enough about it to focus on this part. So if you don't hear me talk a lot about this specific part, that is why. I choose to talk about the things that I'm actually interested in. And I just wasn't interested in this aspect of it, if that makes sense. But we're gonna continue on. So, like I said, it detailed and chronicled what was going on the day of John Cena's infamous heel turn and how it affected the WWE universe. I was well aware that this was happening, and you guys know I called this shit from the beginning. I said this is the best move that they could do. It's the smartest thing that they could do. It's going to echo throughout the WWE universe as well as throughout the world intentionally. It's going to send radio wave shocks throughout the entire WWE atmosphere and just in the pop culture world in general. And it did exactly that. It radiated for weeks. And as far as I'm concerned, it was the right move, but I feel like it just would have added that extra element of, ooh, this is fucked up, to have Kevin come and take his title from him and then let John face off against Kevin, turn it into a triple threat at Mania, and then you would have had Kevin main event Mania, along with Cody and John Cena. John Cena would have pinned Kevin, okay? Pinned Kevin, or you could have had Randy come in and cost Kevin this match. You could have scrapped the whole situation with Sami Zayn because Kevin would have been champion. He never would have had that unsanctioned match, which it was good. It was amazing, but you could have had a bigger moment, especially if Kevin was 1,000% healthy. This would have worked if you would have intertwined everybody into this and just had Travis Scott as like a liaison for Rock when he couldn't be there, you know. But again, shit happens, you know, when things change, you know, it causes us to have to pivot. And in this pivot, you got an awesome heel turn, but I do believe in the end that we did not get the true John Cena heel that we rightfully deserved. I wanted him to have, you know, I understood the concept of it. You know, I don't want to give y'all anything because y'all don't deserve anything. But you could have did that with still being like a very arrogant, you know, heel like you are. You've done some iconic things since you've been champion. True enough. Promos you stolen from CM Punk, his promos. You have, you know, obviously made yourself look great, be great, and be bigger in many different situations. And you've done some cool things. It's just I still feel like this title reign could have been better. Even in the scarcity of his appearances, the title reign could have been better. Like, I don't need John Cena to rest. I just need him to be present in what's going on. And I just need him to be able to at least, you know, have a throw a punch or two here, the water fight, walk away. I didn't like the intensely long promos, the incessant badgering of us. I'm like, God, like we're in an abusive relationship right now. And I'm like, I feel battered. I feel bruised. Like, give me some breathing room. You know, and you can't respond. Like like it's so frustrating because when you're watching it and you are trying to enjoy it, you're I actively immerse myself in everything that I'm watching. So it feels different to me than it would to somebody else. I think I'll do a video on that for you guys as well. It's like how I, you know, watch the shows and really get into understanding it and like really deep diving into it. But I'm actively immersing myself in the show as if I was actively walking around, listening and responding to certain things that I'm seeing. And that's how I'm able to respond in the way that I do. So for me, I always liken it to being real. And that's how I am able to enjoy it so much because I'll sit there and I'll listen to you bitch and moan and complain about shit. But bro, like if you ain't saying nothing, if you ain't giving me no flag, like you not giving me nothing worthwhile, then I'm not trying to hear that shit, bro. I'm not trying to hear it. Like I was I was a fan. You know what I'm saying? I was a major fan of John Cena's. Love that man down to his dirty draws. And then for you to go and come out there and say some nefarious bullshit like you've been saying, like what the fuck? But it just goes to show that the way that they have structured this and the things that they are doing for the business itself in terms of how they can make John Cena look like the biggest douche, they are doing their jobs. I've always said that when a plan comes together correctly, especially in wrestling, and is executed right, the fans will act according to how you push them. You are supposed to react in a very, you know, disdain way. Like you're not supposed to like what John Cena is doing. Even if you've been waiting for a heel turn for 20 years, you're not going to like the heel turn. You can respect it, but you're not going to like it. And then on top of that, he looked like he was a stooge for The Rock. That made it even fucking worse. So like the fans reacted accordingly. Some of those who really wanted to see John Cena be a heel were excited and ecstatic. Others were like me and were like, man, fuck John Cena. Like, and the babies, oh my God, the little babies that was crying. I just wanted to hug them and be like, oh, it's gonna be okay. The little boy was like, I hate John Cena and The Rock so much. And it just reminded me of when I was a kid and I was watching it and I talked about how much I hated, Triple H when he was a villain, and I hated Shawn Michaels when he was a villain. I just would, the shit that they would do, and I would just be like, I hate this man, I hate him. It just brought me back to those days and that emotion that you felt. So this that was a true testament that they are doing something right in WWE, and it's only going to get better from here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that this episode focused on that. I'm very, very curious as to what the final episode will be. It's supposed to be titled WrestleMania. This is episode 5. So this one was short and sweet because I told y'all I kind of had got this one spoiled for me. There wasn't really a lot to it. You just got to see how they were able to keep things under wraps back there, and they kept it tight knit. So a lot of people didn't know, and that's the good thing, because if this had a leaked and got spoiled, man, that would have been devastating. But you know what also didn't get leaked or spoiled? It's the fact that Kevin was supposed to win the title. That did not get leaked or spoiled. At least it never came across my desk. So I thought that was very interesting. But this is really, really cool. WWE Unreal, y'all did y'all big one. Y'all did y'all big one with that one. So I appreciate y'all, but we're going to continue on. Again, if you want to follow me on my socials, you definitely can. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the final episode, episode 5, WrestleMania.